Hey, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Listen, I want to take the time out to welcome everybody to the Rose Show Season 2. I'm super excited about these next 7 episodes that I have. Um, and with the people that I have them with. I thank you guys for continuing to support me in all of my endeavors, but specifically, those of you who have reached out and it's like, yo, where's the Rose Show? We're used to it on Tuesdays. So you guys have me for the next 7 Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. I had to make a few changes, but I'm here, ready and focused, and just super excited to be back here. We have some amazing people that are going to be coming on the show, entrepreneurs that you guys just won't believe. So I'm just super again excited. So thank you guys for joining. As always, in season 1 and 2, we're going to open with a word of prayer, and then I'm going to bring the best person ever on. Okay. All right. So, Father, I thank you for your mercy. I thank you, oh God, for your kindness. I thank you for your continued grace. I thank you for your continued covering of all of those who are able to see and those who are unable to see. God, I thank you because you are who you are always and you never change. I thank you, God, that because we have went through seasons of our life just in 2023, maybe like for me 12, 13 seasons just in 1 year. I thank you just for your keeping power and allowing me to still be here to give you the praise. God, I ask you to touch and bless each and every person that joins this live, that joins the replay, oh God. I ask you to touch them in abundance, give them the desires of their heart, oh God. And if anything, oh God, bring them closer to you, oh God. I thank you, oh God, for our guest on today. I thank you for your resilience, oh God. I thank you for what you have made her to be. I thank you for what you are continuing to do for her and her business and in her life, in her children's life, oh God. I bless you, I magnify you, I thank you, and I give you glory, honor, and praise in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, you guys. So welcome again back to the Rose Show Season 2. I'm super excited about Season 2 and what we have. The first guest that we have for Season 2 is none other than my sister, my friend, my son's second mom, nobody but the incomparable Melissa Boston. Melissa Boston is the CEO of AKANNA. It is a health and wellness company. So I'm super excited for you guys to just learn a little bit more about what AKANNA is, what they do. Feel free to ask any questions that you need to ask. She is a wealth of knowledge, and I'm just extremely happy and pleasured to have someone like her on my show, on my little bitty show, right? Because she's huge. So without further ado, I am going to bring in Miss Melissa. Hola.
Goodness. Hola, my sister. Oh my goodness. I'm so humbled. I'm first of all just grateful to be on your show. You are
What?
doing amazing things. I didn't know I was the first guest for season 2, girl. You know I feel honored.
You
But I
are.
love you, love you, love you, and just
I
honored to
love
be on the show.
you. I love you. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for joining the Rose Show Divine Connection Conversations. A lot of people don't know our story, how I met you, and but I can tell you that it was definitely a divine connection and tons of conversations. You are the mother, not even godmother, you are the second mother to my son, Thomas Lindsay Sewell V, who passed on to be with the Lord a couple years ago. But you were just his mom, like literally, you were just his mom. That's all I can say. And of course, I always appreciate you for that. But you have just been a pillar in the Atlanta community, the community of Chicago, in terms of where your businesses are. But I know that you have been to several countries, right? You've been doing business in several countries. Across the world, and AKANNA is just huge in the United States, period. So I'm super excited to just let you talk about Akana and whatever else you want to talk about. I'm going to give you the floor. I'm going to yield the floor to you. And just want you to know before that I love you and I appreciate you always.
Wow. Well, I love you so much. Appreciate you so much. And yes, I mean, TJ, oh my goodness, my hero. I mean, literally, in fact, he inspired my outfit today because if
Love
you've
it.
ever met TJ, to know TJ will always be your biggest cheerleader. He will
Yes.
root for you when you feel down. He will make you feel like you're 10 feet tall. And I can just see him, when you dress up, it's like, MB, oh my God, you're right. You just get so excited. So I said, I'm going to dress up today because, girl, I have my t-shirt on too. I have my hat on. And I
Yes.
choose for TJ, but I love you, love your family. And really, Akana means in the hands of God. I know for me, this is a divine appointment. I think so many times in our life, we have no idea that there are monumental times we meet someone and they're a part of that storyline that brings us to where we're at right now. And I know you and your son were such a blessing in my life at the time in which I first met you. And to have that story continue is super blessing. But
Yeah.
let's talk wellness because really we are seeing such an epidemic right now. When we think about COVID, right? We're post COVID now, and we think about the fact that who did COVID hit the hardest? Like what community? I mean, do we have to ask that question? We know the answer. When we think about all these chronic diseases, whether it's diabetes, whether it's kidney failure, whether it's heart disease, who is it? What community is being brought down the hardest? Okay. Why are we suffering as African Americans? And so that's really the reason why we have started a company like AKANNA, because I found myself when I was only 19 on the other side of health, where I was absolutely in a position where I could have lost my life, almost died, a 50% chance of living or dying. And unfortunately, back then, we just didn't know better, right? We didn't have Google. We didn't have access to all of this. And so we pretty much were eating in the dark, not knowing that a lot of what's happening could be solved with some lifestyle changes. But here
Mm.
we are in 2024, and now there's so much evidence of what's happening, but yet we're still dying. And so today, hopefully, we speak to the heart of someone, because I always believe when we're doing, whether it's speaking on a podcast or whether we're doing something, for the community, if it's one person on the line that hears this message and makes a difference, that's really why, we show up for things like this. And so yeah, I'm excited to talk wellness. I'm excited to explore some of the topics that I'm sure are on your mind, on everyone's mind, like, what is going on,
Mhm.
what's going on in the African American community and how can we solve it? How can we fix it? And as women, especially, we're so busy being the pillar in our community. We're so busy putting oxygen on everybody else. We're so busy pouring into everyone else. We find that we're suffering, we're dying. And what do they tell us on the airplane? Put the oxygen mask on you first.
Yes.
Because if you're drowning, if you're suffering, whether it's financially or whether it's with your health, how can you help somebody else? And
Right.
so today, and on this podcast, hopefully we just get the word out, right? We got to self-care, self-love,
Yes.
self, right?
Yes, yes. So I do have a topic that I kind of want to start with. I know that I was touring with you a couple years ago when you were on tour, and we did a couple cities. I think I was in Boston, and then we did Vegas. And one of the things that I learned was about blood type,
Mm.
right? And I was like, eating for my blood type. What do you mean? Like, I'm O positive. What did I eat? Whatever. So, anyways, um, it wasn't until the first conference in Boston that I was able to learn more about eating for my blood type. And for me, O positive is like meat, right? But me, I'm just kind of like, I need to get away from the meat because of all of the, I guess, the steroids and things of that nature that they're doing in it. So let's talk a little bit about eating for your blood type and why it's important.
Absolutely. And yeah, when you think about O, you think about the original blood. That's the oldest blood type. That's really where it all began. The hunters and gatherers. And really, none of us were designed to eat meat. But it was after the Great Flood, it was the animals, right, that ran for the hills, the crops, they were left foodless. So they got destroyed. And so we had to adapt to a meat environment. And that meat environment meant we need to have higher stomach acids. And so it allowed us the ability to break the animal meat down better than other blood types. But just by design, none of us were really meant to eat animal meat. But yeah, for your blood type, it's a big deal. And I remember when I first heard the book, and many of you listening in, you might have heard about the book, Eat Right for Your Blood Type. And at first, I heard a lot of experts debunking that. Like, no, that's not true. If you just eat healthy, you'll get better. So they were telling us stuff that made me dismiss it. Okay, so I dismissed it. But yet I'm on this health journey where I find myself in these health crises. And it wasn't until I was literally a few years before turning 50 that I learned that I'm a blood type A. And as a blood type A, we're agrarians, right? Agrarians, we are the original vegetable eaters, the plant growers, and our stomach acids are very, very, very low. And so I was raised by a blood type O mama. Love my mama. Okay. My son, Tariq, is a blood type O. So I'm surrounded by these blood type O's who are having this heavy meat consumption. I'm eating like them. And I find myself at 19 years old in an emergency situation, 50% chance of living or dying. My gastrointestinal system was failing. See, in order to digest meat, your body has to become almost like a food processor, right? Trying to process it and break it down. And imagine a blood type A who doesn't have those stomach acids to break that animal meat down. It literally just stays in the system. And then what happens is a crisis comes. And so you have your blood type O's, who again are the original blood type, but none of us should be eating meat. And there are specific things that O blood should avoid, like white wine. And I know many of you love your Moscato. Well, guess what? It's not good for blood type O's. Catfish, big in our community, not good for blood type O's. Even something healthy like avocado has lectins in it that actually, if you're not healthy, could be bad for you. Now, if you're healthy, you probably can withstand some of the lectins and the experiences of some of the healthier type of blood type foods that aren't good for you. But the toxic ones, like the catfish and the white wine, blood type O should avoid, period. Even wheat. You heard the book Wheat Belly.
Yeah.
That's the hardest. The blood type O's. That's why a lot of times the blood type O's will eat carbs and gain a lot of weight. And here I am, a blood type A. I was eating carbs, right? And
couldn't gain no weight.
Burnt off me, okay? And so, the blood type diet is serious. And here's the other thing that's really kind of interesting, Renita, is blood type B's. Let's talk about the blood type B's. Blood type B stands for balance. They're kind of a combination between the O and the A. And they were the third blood type. So O is the original blood type. Then the blood type A's came, because let's think about it. As society grew bigger, we needed to find ways to grow a massive amount of fruit and vegetables. And so the A's went out further and were able to grow those crops. But the B's kind of kept going and going and going, went further north, and their blood type evolved. And they actually are not supposed to eat things like chicken. I want you to think about that for a second. Chicken. Wow. If you're African American, chicken has been a staple in most communities, in our community. I mean, think about it. I mean, a good piece of fried chicken. I mean, come on.
Yes. That's the story of my house life. Yeah.
Right. I mean, Harold, you got, Kenny's, Dusty's Buffet. You got all these different phenomenal places, but 19% of African Americans are blood type B, which means chicken is toxic to you. And so when you think about people that get autoimmune diseases, a lot of times when we do blood type testing, it's always interesting when we look at the blood type Bs and the conditions they're dealing with compared to the blood type O, compared to the blood type A. And a lot of it, again, we were just eating in the dark. And when the pandemic came, here we were not knowing our blood type, eating so far against our blood type that here it was a virus that for many communities was harmless. For some of them, it was just like catching a cold. But for us, guess what? It caused so many people to lose their life. And so, it's critical that you learn your blood type. And we were able to study thousands of people, make comparison, and realize even your personality is rooted in your blood type. Okay. Wow. As an A, we typically are a little bit more cautious of just going up to people and saying, hey, I'm Melissa Boston, right? We're a little more reserved. We're shyer. Whereas the O's, you guys are kind of just, you got that natural bravado, that natural confidence. You guys are the hunters. So in even a business like we have, we find the O's are just fearless. They go out and talk to everybody. Now, depending on your birthday, it's going to make you more fearless or less fearless. I mean, those
Yeah.
Leos, right? They're unstoppable. But
I
it was
live with one.
right.
Yes. I live with one. Yeah.
You live with one, so
No.
you know, yes.
Yeah. No, that's good information. I know I was kind of blown away by it. I know we went to these to the different restaurants when we were in Vegas, and I started eating, veggie plates, and I still actually do eat a lot of vegetables, more vegetables now than I did before. So because I do understand how important it is that. The products from Akana that we can talk about. So it's for me, okay. So before you can dive into whichever ones you want to, but for me, it's the knee rub. It's the rub, right? It's the cream that goes on the knee, right? I put it on my knee all the time, even still today. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I know of a lot of people my age bracket that's starting to have issues with their knees and needing knee replacements and things of that nature. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you look at it, over a certain age, 9 out of 10 people are dealing with inflammation, and obviously, a lot of that's tied in within our diet. But the reality is, we're in pain, we're suffering, and so we want instant gratification. We want to take something and get rid of
Yeah.
it. So yeah, we have a topical rub that's potent. Not only do we use and infuse it with CBD with a little bit of THC, but we actually infuse it with specific essential oils that make a synergistic effect. So we have a proprietary blend. That was our original product, came out in 2019. And the crazy part about it is first recipe, original recipe, and never had to change that recipe. It is our number one seller all across the country. So yeah, people love to and even young people, like my little granddaughter, Anaya, my son tells me about her growing pains. Like kids deal with growing pains. And he's like, when he came up this past week, he's like, Mom, I need to get some more of that rub because Anaya needs her rub. I'm like, what? I said, she's, 12 years old. And so they have growing pains and it works for her growing pains. So yeah, it's a phenomenal product. One of my favorites though, when I think about the product line, and this kind of gets us back into the whole aspect of the animal meat. When you think about animal meat has no fiber, right? Animal meat has no water, right? So it's kind of like when you think about fruit and vegetables, fiber, water, it goes through our system really, really quick. But an animal might take 8 hours to try to get through your system. Sometimes an animal could live in your system for like 10 years. So imagine walking around kind of like a porta potty, right? We have food that's in your system for many, many years. And constipation, we might think of it as an inconvenience. But when we think about our colon, right, and we think about gut health, 70% of our immune system is where it's in our gut. And we think about colon cancer now. And we hear these statistics that are frightening. And some of the statistics tell us that if you're between the ages of 20 and 49, the leading cause of death by the year 2030 is going to be colon cancer. It's like, what the heck? We weren't even
so prevalent. Yeah.
Prevalent now. You're hearing about polyps. And the crazy part about it is they're not just catching the colon cancer at a stage 4. It's at such a progressive stage 4. They're calling them now incurable. Because a lot of times when you're in your 30s and 20s, they're not even testing you. You go to the doctor and maybe you have gastritis, you have loose stool, bloody stool. You have just things that are symptomatic of colon cancer, right? But they misdiagnose you because you're not supposed to have colon cancer. And so our liquid colonic, it is a detox tea. But I by far, recommend that we have to detox. We have to clean our bodies out because if you think about the pain, if we clean that colon out, guess what? Many times the pain is going to subside. The pain's going to go away. So we want to work our healthcare from the inside out. Yeah, we could put that topical on. And I know, again, people want that acute relief. They don't want to wait for that relief. But I always say start it from the inside out. So the liquid colonic, along with our full flat belly cleanse, would be by far what I would recommend the most, just because I see what's happening in our community. Now, outside of our product line, guys, I always love to recommend things that are just helpful in general. And so I would also encourage people that there are certain things that you should just invest in, whether you ever buy products with us or not. And one of them is vitamin D. I know you hear a lot about vitamin D, right? And the deficiencies. But what they're not telling us, though, is when you think about why it is Black men have such an aggressive case of prostate cancer compared to others who might have the same diet and lifestyle. Why is it that Black women have the most aggressive type of breast cancer compared to others? And you might compare their same diet and lifestyle. So let's imagine you have a Caucasian lady eating the exact same way, have the same lifestyle as an African American lady. Why would the African American lady be least likely to survive that cancer? And the biggest reason is we are what? North of the equator. When you think about how our creator designed us initially, we were all south of the equator, which meant we had access to vitamin D in abundance. And now we're so vitamin D deficient, even when people look back at COVID, and one of the biggest reasons why we could not, fight off COVID is because most people in our community are severely vitamin D deficient.
Yeah, my doctor literally, Melissa, like it was so concerned the last 2 months about my vitamin D. It was extremely low. I actually just got a prescription for it because I was just super, super tired. And I mean, I was trying everything. I did the cleanse, just everything. And I was just so tired. And when I went and got my blood work done both times, it was worse the first time than the second time. And I was just taking these little Spring Valley, and nothing was helping. So it is extremely important to ensure that we are getting our vitamin D.
And to get it tested. Because when I went to my healthcare provider to ask for a test, she looked at me, she says, honey, I'm a physician, I'm a doctor. She's like, I've never tested my vitamin D. Now, she was darker than me. And they say the darker you are, the more deficient most likely you are. Mm-hmm. And so I just demanded that I got tested. And when she gave me back my number, she said, see, you're normal. Now, normal in the healthcare means you're at about 35 IUs. Well, healthy young people are at about 65 or 70 IU. So do I want to be normal and be just at the edge of sickness? Or do I want to be healthy like younger people who are able to have more vitamin D in their system just because, again, they've not processed so many issues in their life? And so we have to get tested. We have to make sure we're not deficient. And if we are deficient, work with your healthcare provider so that you can get the appropriate amount. Some people might need 5,000 IUs a day. Some people might need 10,000 IUs a day. Okay. There's very rare that vitamin D can be considered toxic where you can take too much. But at the same time, because that exists, always work with your healthcare provider and get your numbers up to the ample amount. Now, in addition to the vitamin D, Renita, something else I think we should talk about because, a lot of times when we get on this health and wellness journey, there's a lot of information that comes at us. I like to break it down to just kind of the things that are obvious, but may not be something we've ever kind of clearly understood the correlation. Fat, when you think about fat, right? Back in the day, low fat was everything, right? I mean, I don't know how many times you go to the supermarket. What are you looking for?
Low fat.
Low fat. Fat is whack, right? So we've always thought of fat as being really bad, okay? And so here's the reality, guys. Let's talk about fat because this is also critical to maintaining our health. There's two types of fat. The fat, unfortunately, that we are bombarded with in the African American community is the type of fat that's so lethal, there's no safe amount of it. It's called trans fat. When you think about the gentlemen that are dropping dead at 45, at 35 of heart attacks, how in the world can someone with this beautiful body who looks so healthy have arteries that are clogged at 35 years, at 45 years? Because in our community, what's so prevalent is trans fats. When you start cooking fat at high temperatures, it becomes lethal. And when you think about, not only do we have chicken that's fried in grease, I mean, our grandmothers did it, but they changed the grease at least, right? It wasn't, they used it 30 times. I mean, even if they reused it a couple times, right? At some point, they're going to throw it out a fresh batch of grease. So just think about this for a second. You walk into that favorite restaurant and you smell that grease that is more than a day old, right? It's probably a week old. Okay, they fried in it hundreds of times. That fat in that grease is so lethal. They tell us that there's no safe amount of it, but sometimes we spend a lifetime eating that every single day. Some of us every single week. Wow. But so now you understand how it is somebody at 35 years old could drop dead of a heart attack. How it is your cousin, like I can think about my cousin at 40 something years young, looking so healthy and vibrant, and you hear he had a stroke. It's like, what the heck? And not only did he have a stroke, but he didn't survive it. It caused all the organs in his body to fail. It was that much brain damage. And so again, we just sometimes don't know what we don't know. We don't think about food like we think about a gun. We know that if there was a gun on that shelf, we would run if somebody had their hands on the trigger, right? So it's kind of like it's our diet, right? I mean, it's our genetics that loads the gun, right? So we have genetics we got to take care of, but it's our lifestyle that's pulling the trigger. I want you to think about that for a second. Our lifestyle is pulling the trigger.
Wow.
We have to also empower ourselves to realize, hey, we're not saying you can never have a piece of fried chicken, right? We're saying if you're going to do something, at least educate yourself on what a healthy fat is and how you can incorporate more healthy fats, because healthy fats are vital to brain health. So you have trans fats that's clogging off the blood flow to the brain and causing us to stroke out. And then you have healthy fats that are causing the arteries to flow properly, nutrients to the brain, us to have better moods, less anxiety. So it's kind of like, why don't we just switch from the deadly fat to the healthy fat? Simple. We still got what we want, that fatty craving that we love, but without the lethal consequences. And so when we think about omega-3, when you think about whether it's an avocado, whether it's flaxseed, when you think about even having, salmon, wild caught salmon, things that have healthy fats in them, walnuts, your pecans, your almonds, just make conscious decisions every day on how you're going to prepare your food. Even olive oil. If you cook olive oil at a higher temperature than what you're supposed to, it becomes a trans fat. So we think we're cooking something healthy. We're using avocado, we're using olive oil. Instead of that, there's something called grapeseed oil, or there's avocado oil. Those you can cook at higher temperatures and they don't break down and become trans fats. So it's really about education. And that's really what we do at AKANNA, is we first lead with education, right? We want to make sure we're connecting with our community. We're empowering our community, because we're seeing too many of our people leave up out of here way too fast, Renita.
Way too soon. Way too soon. Yeah, no, that's good. Wow, Melissa, that's some really good information. Even I didn't even know anything about the trans fat, well, the oil, because I use olive oil and avocado oil all the time to cook in. Like if I want fries, I cook them in olive oil instead of Crisco, thinking that I'm doing something, but I mean, I still cook it at the same temperature as I am. So, it's probably still trans fat. Hence the reason I still can't lose weight, but nevertheless. But that's good.
Olive oil on your food when you're done, because olive oil is great, especially if it's true olive oil. A lot of olive oil is fake. So you really want to do your research, get a good olive oil. But olive oil is phenomenal for the body, but it's just not good when it's cooked and it breaks down. So
and it breaks down. Okay. All right. Well, that's good information. So one of the things that you said earlier, just I wanted to really, really talk about. And that is CBD and THC, right? So I'm in the Christian community, as you know, have been for a very long time. And where I come from, that's going to send you straight to hell. Okay. And you ain't coming back. Right. But I definitely want to debunk that misconception about THC and CBD and what it does to the body. Because when you hear people say THC, the first thing that they think about is weed, marijuana. Nobody thinks about the plant, nobody thinks about the oil, they just think about getting high and it not being bad for you. So I know that you taught me a lot as it relates to that, and using it in a healthy manner in terms of in the food, the CBD, some of the things that it's good for. But let's talk a little bit about that, because what we have here is a lot of the people that are in the Christian community. And I know that you and I talked to you about that a long time ago. Like, I really want to do something big, for the Christian community, really to understand what it is, that it's not just about getting high. So go ahead.
Yeah, and it's interesting because myself, I was the vice president for Students Against Drinking and Driving. I always say the DARE captain. I was anti-drug, anti-smoking. Marijuana is terrible. I really was miseducated. And I think most of us are. And it really is by design, because when we think about CBD, CBD comes from either the hemp plant or the marijuana plant. The kind of CBD we're talking about, it comes from the hemp plant. When you think about the hemp plant, hemp is one of the healthiest sources of omega-3 fat. Okay. But in the 1930s, there was a gentleman who had an agenda. See, most of the things that miseducate us come from someone who's putting profit over people. And this particular person, Henry Anslinger, he basically was in a position where he owned, all the trees. Okay. And he was using trees for paper. Well, come to find out, hemp grew much faster than trees. I mean, it takes a hemp plant about 4 months to grow, to reach full maturity. Well, guess how long for a tree? 20 years. And so he quickly realized that hemp was going to put him out of business, because there's over 50,000 uses for hemp. I mean, we're talking about the first Bible was made using hemp. We're talking about, even when you think about certain things that happen, whether it's building a flag, rope, there's so many different uses for hemp. They're even now making hempcrete, where they're replacing concrete with hemp. Okay. So hemp has the power to reduce our global footprint, really do so much for the environment. But this gentleman, again, putting profit over people, he wanted to put hemp in the same category as marijuana. And so they started doing a lot of miseducation. Now, here's the thing. I'm not against marijuana in the sense that if you use it responsibly. THC, I know for people with Parkinson's disease and other conditions have benefited from it, people that have seizures. And so we're not going to knock marijuana. But I'm here to say, for those of you who might not want to partake in something that's going to make you psychoactive, there's no psychoactive component in CBD. CBD is completely healthy without getting high. It is the opposite of THC. And so when you think about the therapeutic benefits of CBD, when you think about the fact that there's so many benefits from anti-anxiety, for people that are dealing with insomnia, people that are dealing with chronic pain, it's even been shown to help reduce tumors. There's so many benefits of CBD that were denied from us, because guess what? What happened in the 1930s? And so we have something called an endocannabinoid system. That system lives with us. Who created that system in us? Our creator. So why would our creator give us an endocannabinoid system where we have receptors for CBD? We have receptors for cannabinoids. Not the ones that make you high, but the ones that make you healthy is what I'm talking about, okay? And so when you think about when you breastfeed your child, right, there's actually cannabinoids in that breast milk that help keep the baby calm. So besides breast milk, or sometimes getting it from chocolate, most of us have not had cannabinoids because of what happened with this unfortunate thing in the 1930s. It was so restricted. But now we look back in 2017 is really when you started to see CBD start to make its comeback, okay? And the crazy part about it, Renita, that's when I joined the industry. I was asked in 2017 to be the CEO of a CBD company. And again, being miseducated, being misinformed, I almost said no. I'm literally thinking, no, why would I want to do that? But I got on a phone call and I listened to all these testimonials, people that were dealing with so many chronic conditions, from fibromyalgia to Crohn's, who are having dramatic relief that even modern medication can't do for them. So I'm saying, wait a minute, there's too much good that I'm hearing with this plant for us to just turn our head to this, or turn our head away from this. And so I started doing my research. I started digging in. I brought on a medical team. I said, I want you guys to dig in with me. And as everyone started doing their research, what we discovered was CBD was a game changer. If you're dealing with any type of chronic condition, just know that chances are your body's out of balance. If we have receptors for this very cannabinoid and we're denied this, where most of us are dealing in an imbalanced state. And so once you start taking tinctures of CBD, or you can do it in gummies, it actually helps to bring the body back into homeostasis, bring it back into balance. And for many people, if you've never tried it before, that first try, it's a game changer, because you're sleeping at night, you're not dealing with all that anxiety that you might have been before. Yes. And you're like, why was I judging this plant? But again, are we going to let somebody from the 1930s with profit in his mind? He wasn't thinking about Christians or godly people. You know what I mean? All he was thinking about was profit. Because if he would have got real with the situation, why would the first Bible of being, produced on hemp if it was such a bad plant, right? Why would we do that, right? We wouldn't have done that. And in fact, if you go back biblically, cannabis is actually mentioned in the Bible. So just know there's good parts of the plant that have healing qualities. And I would just encourage you to do your homework, do your research.
Yeah, no, that's good. I can tell you that my little tinctures, honey, they work for me. Especially with my anxiety. When TJ died, I mean, literally, that was one of the things that was my go-to, like, because I needed to sleep and rest my mind, and so that was something that was healthy and helped for me. And like I said, the thing, oh, my knee cream, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. But yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about that because, people have that grave misconception about CBD versus, THC, and, that it's just all bad for you. And it really is not. Yeah, it really is not. So what's going on at AKANNA right now? What's the big news going on at AKANNA? I know you guys just came out of a conference. What is it, March Madness that you guys had?
So yeah, we had a contest, March Madness. One of the things we're really pushing right now is in-home self-care experiences. And so if you have family members that you would love to have a wellness team, I want you to think about this for a second. I mean, how many times do we think about our family and we love them so much, but they do not listen to us, right? We know they're dealing with, whether it's heart disease, some of them are getting stents, and fortunately, many of them survive the heart attacks. But you just know that we're dealing with stuff, diabetes and dialysis. And sometimes it's great for an expert to come in. And so we have really been passionate about doing free experiences where we are just bringing self-care to the home. We're bringing self-care to schools, to churches. And so that's one of the big things. And so we just finished March Madness, had a phenomenal month of doing self-care experiences all across the country, because yes, we're in almost every state. But we're also leading up to our conference. We have a 420 conference because we are now celebrating 5 years in business. Can you believe that? Our anniversary on 420, yes, year 5. And so we actually have people coming in to our headquarters. I'm actually here in one of our areas, but we have a facility here in Bronzeville. In fact, right here in the heart of Bronzeville, 35th and King. So April the 18th through the 21st. We're going to be hosting over 100 of our AKANNApreneurs who are coming in to meet with our medical advisory team. There's going to be different lectures and workshops and updates, whether it's heart health, diabetes prevention. We actually have things also too about empowerment. If for those who might want to be in the wellness industry, let's say you want to get certified and you really want to make this your mission, make this a part of what you do. That's going to be also on the table as well. One of the new features, Renita, that I think you'll appreciate, because when we think about Black women, what do we love? Our hair. Our hair is our crown, but we have so many problems with it. Alopecia is all-time high. And so we actually have brought in a hair division. And so we're working with a leading trichologist, Doris Mosley. And so we're doing what we call hair scoping. A lot of times what we don't realize is just because the hair is on our head doesn't mean the hair loss that we're going to have in the next couple of years hasn't already started. But the best way to stop it is to prevent it in the first place. And so we actually have this whole concept called Healing Hair Days. And so we are teaching our women to embrace your hair, to love your hair, and to fall back in love with your roots through this concept of scoping your head so we can look and see what's going on. A lot of times we're dealing with inflammation. We're dealing with a lot of things on the scalp. And so we have a scalp facial that's a part of this process that's brand new, that is super exciting. So that's new, here at AKANNA. So healthy hair. If you love healthy hair, if you're a stylist or you just want to come out and get a scope, I know we're having a Healing Hair Day on April 15th here at our headquarters. And all the events that I've mentioned, from conference to the Healing Hair Day, they'll be here at our 411 East 35th. So what's the 411? We're right here on 411 East 35th Street in the Chicago, Illinois. And hopefully you can come, Renita. I would love to have you in Chicago.
Yeah, I was just talking to Tracy tonight. So yeah, we're gonna see what we got going on there. It's nothing for me to fly right on into Chicago.
And we know we love your brand too with what you do also, and the business that you have. And so we're gonna get some more merchandise from you too.
Oh wow. Yeah, there you go.
up, right? So yeah, you're the
I
best.
appreciate. Listen. If I know one thing you're gonna do is you're gonna support and you're gonna be there, and I always appreciate you. So, we have a few more minutes, and I wanted to talk about something else that really intrigued me, that I learned a lot about, which was 100% on point, was the body scan.
Mhm. Okay.
I want to talk about the body scan because I don't know that people really know a lot about the body scan. But before I get into that, I do want to let you know that I'm working on a conference right now. Um, it's for my grief group. It's called Grieving Through Grace. If you guys are out there, you're not a part of Grieving Through Grace. It is on Facebook, and it's just a support grief group. And we have about 250 members or so right now, but it's constantly growing. But I'm going to do a conference, and it's just going to be something intimate and small to start out with just the members. Um, where we're going to do health and wellness, we're going to do massages, we're going to have counselors, therapists and things of that nature to come in and to just kind of talk to us about, overall health and wellness, because grief can take you to a place, right? And it can affect your health. I know of people who have had loved ones who have passed, and they were so heartbroken that they didn't want to live, and they didn't. Right. So I wanted, one of the things I wanted to do was just kind of talk about how to stay healthy during that process. Right. As well. And there's a whole lot that me and Kiva are working on. So that's the come. So I definitely want to invite you out to there.
Absolutely. That's what I was gonna say. I've got it there.
Yes, with the AKANNA products. Right now we're looking at October, November, but I'll give you the specific date once Kiva and I are finished.
Just don't make it October 4th through the 12th because we're taking our diamonds to Dubai in October.
I gotta get diamond status, y'all. Listen, I'm gonna put my link up here so y'all can get me diamond status. This girl needs to be diamond status. I need to be in Dubai.
Yes. But no, I love that. And I would love also to connect you with Dr. Kim Dotrieve. She is also a grief counselor. She's got her book that's out on grief now. She lost her son, and just a phenomenal medical doctor that has a lot of great experience. And so she might be one to come to your conference as well as a speaker. Yeah. So reach out to her. But she's
I said that to say because it's going to be in Ohio, in Cincinnati, right? I chose to have it there because that's where my child is. That's where my family is. That's where the majority of my friends are. Though I have tons of friends here in Atlanta, they will travel, there. So it's going to be in Ohio. So I definitely wanted to incorporate AKANNA too. And that's what made me bring up the body scan.
Yeah. And with the body scan, when you really think about our health, a lot of times we're eating in the dark because we really don't know what's going on. I mean, you take a natural product and you might think, oh, is it placebo? We don't know really what it's doing. And we don't know what we look like on the inside, because just because, we walk around looking like the picture of health doesn't mean the liver's not having challenges and the kidneys not having challenges. And so we did a lot of research, and we wanted to partner with the right team. And we met a naturopath doctor, and he had been utilizing this practice for the past, at the time, 10 years, now probably about 13 years, of giving people the opportunity to take a 1-minute test. It's a handheld device. You hold it for 1 minute, and literally it's able to tell you the state of your health at the cellular level. It's been in use for over 40 years. It's based on over 100 million clinical cases. And it's 85 to 95% accurate. What always blows me away is people that are dealing with something, whether it's fatty liver disease, maybe they're dealing with gout, maybe the doctor told them they have 70% blockage in their heart. We don't make any medical claims. Our test results are for reference only. They're not a diagnostic conclusion. We always tell you to take this information back to your doctor, because all we're doing is giving you a chance to have a chance, because sometimes we just don't want to go to the doctor. Sometimes our men are stubborn, right? And so sometimes that's just a wake-up call that will stir you up to go to the doctor. Because if we can see on our scan that you have plaque on your brain, right? I mean, I used to think when I would hear somebody have an aneurysm, and I would just sometimes just have all this anxiety because I'm thinking, wow, you just wake up one day, you have an aneurysm, right? You wake up one day, you have a stroke, almost as if none of it was within our control, because that wasn't what we were taught. We weren't taught that at the end of the day, we're committing suicide, right? We are digging our grave with the very fork we think is nurturing us. And so when I realized that there's ways to test the elasticity of those arteries, there's ways to test to see if there's a buildup happening. I'm like, wait a minute, this is giving us a peek inside of a window so we have a chance to have another day. Because so many times people just didn't know what they didn't know. Maybe they hadn't been to the doctor in 2 to 3 years. And so with our test, we really feel that it's life-saving, because again, we don't look at this as a diagnostic conclusion, but once you get that test, when you see that something is severely abnormal, when you see that your liver is severely fat, when we see that your kidneys are actually already in the beginning stages of damage, because there's 5 stages of kidney damage, right? Mm-hmm. When you want to catch it at the beginning, why do we want to wait till we're 10% kidney function and now they're forcing us on dialysis? And so that's really what the scan represents. It's not to replace your medical doctor, but it's to give you a chance to have a chance. And so when we do our self-care experiences, that's what we bring into the home. We give people an opportunity to hold the device. It's going to read those areas, 40 different areas of the body. It's going to look at your gastrointestinal, maybe you're vitamin deficient. It's going to look at all those areas, your minerals. It's going to let you know if you're alkaline, if you're acidic. So it's going to go through those different reports of the body. And we offer four reports complimentary. So we do your heart, your brain. So that's on the same report. We do your liver and kidney, and then your pH. If you want the full report, we charge $29 for the full report. Most people that are doing these type of scans charge hundreds of dollars. Now, if our coach has to drive out to you, you might have to pay $50 for that, because they're driving to see you or they're driving to an event. But when you come to our facility here in Chicago, we offer it for free, because we just feel like it's needed in our community. We've got to be the solution, because we see that we're in crisis right now. One of my fears, Renita, when you think about even something like cancer, you go back, 80 years ago, right? 100 years ago. And the common cause of death, most people didn't die, when they go back and look at those bodies with tumors in them, right? I mean, most people just didn't have tumors. Okay. So you look at 80 people and maybe one of them, had cancer. You look at 150 people and maybe one of them had cancer. And now when you look at what's happening right now, you look at 3 people and one of them we know will have cancer in their lifetime. They're telling us soon it's going to be 1 out of 2. There's going to be a time when if we don't do something about it, they're going to tell us it's going to be 98% of people. We refuse to accept that. We know there are things we can do to help avoid it. We know some of them is nutrients, but we also know that we're living in a toxic environment. And so when you ask about what's new, one of the big things we are really a component of and an advocate is energy enhancement. And so we're working with a phenomenal doctor, brilliant doctor who's worked on technology that helps us increase our natural energy reserve. Because a lot of times when we're doing our bioscan, we notice a lot of us are kind of, at that point where the battery's dead. I mean, so we got to that battery up, right?
Yes.
So, energy enhancement system, which again, I hope you come here, because our new wellness spa, our equipment delivers tomorrow. For our new wellness spa.
I'm there.
Spas all across the country, because a part of helping our community, I see it as a 3-pronged approach, right? We have to incorporate, better nutrition, that healthy lifestyle is critical. Exercise is critical. We got to get moving, right? We got to get moving. But we also have to look at technologies that we've been denied, right? We just haven't had access to. But there's certain things that the rich elite know, and they're doing to protect their families. We got to do the exact same thing. And so we really pride ourselves on staying on the cutting edge of what's happening, ensuring we're bringing the latest and greatest to our community. And we really want to turn this around, because we don't want 2030 to come and their predictions to be right. Their predictions about what's going on with Black kids and diabetes, that 1 out of 2 of our kids are going to have diabetes in their lifetime. We don't want their predictions about colon cancer to be right, that it's going to be the leading cause of death of our children between the ages of 20 and 49. And so if we're going to get ahead of that, it's going to start with us making decisions now and investing in the right technologies that help bring us on the right side of health.
Yeah. Wow, Melissa, I am just blown away. Because health is so important, and me, even in my 50 whatever, almost whatever, I'm just kind of like, Ro, you got to get it together. And I've always said that, but I'm always just on the go. I'm always doing this, working, 1,500 jobs, running a business, trying to do other things. And there's just never really that time to focus on me. But recently, with my numbers, right, being the way that they were in a couple of diagnoses that I got that I haven't, really kind of grasp yet, is one of the things that I've been doing is using black seed oil, and it's helped, but I know that I have so much other stuff to do. It's allergy season. My allergies are all messed up. So what do I have? What did I have in my refrigerator? Well, at the time it was Wakanda, but my thing. So I actually used it this morning on my way to work because I was like, oh, just all stuffy and stuff. But this is a pivotal time for us, in all communities, not just the African American community, especially for women, right? Um, um, just I mean, there's a couple of people at my job, Caucasian women that are dealing with cancer even right now. There's a lady that comes to work every day with her head bald, and we just love on her and just try to encourage her. But a lot of these things are preventative. Everything is not, does not come from family. It's not embedded in us, as they say. So yeah, I really appreciate you. I'm gonna let you have the last words. It's 9:22, and what kind of what do we start? A lot of people get all of this information. They're like, oh my God, do I start with my blood type? Oh my God, do I start with the tinctures? Oh my God, do I start with the rub? Do I do the cleanse? Like, what is the very first thing that you would suggest a person do? Now, disclaimer, I know that everybody's body is different. But what type of suggestion do you have?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing right now is the fact that we are in this fast food, ultra processed society where we're just on the go so much that we have to ask ourselves, when are we actually taking time to eat living, real, raw food? And so I think it starts with our plate, because obviously there's a lot of pills out there, there's a lot of potions, and those could be great. But at the end of the day, just raw, basic nutrition, to kind of ask yourself on a daily basis, did I eat fruit today? Did I have vegetables today? I mean, there are people that go through their whole week and it's ultra processed food. And when you think about the skyrocketing cancer rates, it's because of this ultra processed food. When we think about when we were kids, we didn't have, I mean, if we got a Pop-Tart, but then our kids, that's what they ate, Pop-Tarts, right? We might have scrambled eggs, maybe some toast, but it wasn't this Pop-Tart society, the cereal, and now the cereals are just ultra processed. So I would start with that first and foremost. I would definitely learn your blood type so that at least for those of you who might just be eating in the dark, I think that's critical. And I think it's, again, you don't want to beat yourself up. I think a lot of times we beat ourselves up and that doesn't help. We want to be positive and speak life into ourselves. And so, as busy women, guess what, Renita? Good job, girlfriend. Give you a high five, okay? That you out there handling your business, okay? Celebrate you, just in celebrating yourself, okay? That's going to bring positive energy into your flow, into your body. And so I would definitely also find a good team, get somebody around you that's not always telling you to do the wrong thing. Because I think that's a part of the problem too, is who we're hanging around. We hang around 4 people that just don't want to do right. We are not going to do right? But if you hang around 4 friends, they're like, hey, sure, did you get water today? Okay, hey girl, did you have a healthy salad today? Did you have a smoothie today? Did you get some workout in? Did you have some
accountability partners?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I would start with some small changes, but I think for me, imploring people to do some raw food is critical, because I think that's not a conversation we're having. We don't even want to hear about raw food, what? But think about it. Prior to us learning and creating all this technology, everything was raw. And so now our bodies are under so much attack. And when we think about biblically, girl, we have evidence of people living hundreds of years. So how can we not make it to 45? Why are we not making it to 50? Right? Why is it that we are in the United States? This is the richest country, the wealthiest country in the world. But our life expectancy in the last few years has declined. We went from 38th in the world to 50. There are 49 other countries that outlive us. Why is it there's a death tax for just living in America? And that death tax, no matter if you're Caucasian, no matter if you're Asian, Hispanic, or Black, is 8 years. That means in Japan, the average person dies at 88 years. That means they're almost making it to 90 in Japan. 90, okay? Here, the average life expectancy is 80. But guess what? If you have diabetes, you will pay a 20-year death tax. That basically means you're going to die 20 years earlier just because you have diabetes. So we're giving you education today. We're giving you information. And once you have the education and information, now it's a choice. See, you can only be the victim is if no one told you. There are many people who go to their grave not knowing their blood type, not knowing that the food they were eating every day was killing them. But today you have been made aware. So let's make some small changes. I would challenge you to do some raw food to clean out that colon. We need to clean the colon out, because even if we start making healthy lifestyle changes right now, guess what happens? We're putting healthy stuff on top of stuff that just has been living there for many, many, many years. So I would definitely encourage you. And when I say colon cleanse, I'm not saying you got to go out and get a colonic that many people think about that they don't want to do. I'm saying a drinkable colonic, okay? One of the things we are big on is our drinkable colonic, where you drink it and it literally works to clean out the system. So those are just some I would give you. And the closing remark I would make to each and every one of you is just know that our bodies were designed as a brilliant machine. Magnificent, right? When you think about it, the brilliance of our body. When you think about an athlete, right? We think about whether it's a basketball player or a gymnast, and what they do defies logic, how their bodies bend and move. And so if we were created to be so strong, to live this life of abundance, why are we by the age of 35 and 40 being brought down to our knees, right? It's because we've just got to understand our own power, the body's power, the body's resilience, the fact that the body's designed to heal. And the good news is if you start making changes, guess what? If you have breath right now, if you're listening in, every problem you are having right now, I believe there's a solution for it. I believe it can be reversed. It starts with the mindset. You got to believe it's possible, right? You got to believe in the source, okay, of knowing the power of our body to heal, okay? And just know that, it really starts with you, though. You're the captain. You're the CEO of your body. You're the CEO of your body, right? And so whether you're dealing with a medical condition, whether you're working with your doctor, you are the chief executive officer. And so you got to go out and do your own research, your due diligence, and build your team. So that's my advice.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. One of the things that I wanted to, before we close out, is I've put up here www.logakanna.com. And that is the website where you can go and purchase products, find out more information about the products from AKANNA. But with that is also TJ's website. So the money that you guys spend on TJ's website is going for a very good cause. There's some things, I know Melissa's been super busy, I've been super busy, but there's going to be a greater cause for the monies associated with the AKANNA. It does not come to me. It is totally handled by Melissa, and it's being held for specific reasons. But yeah, go on to www.logakanna.com. Go to the link and check out the products that they have there. I mean, when I tell you they are phenomenal, I take the products. I know my family takes the products. In fact, somebody just asked me about how can I get some more cream? So I have to give them the website. My girlfriend, she ordered a few weeks ago some stuff for the sinuses, getting ready for the spring and things of that nature. But there are phenomenal products. Melissa started this company from the ground up. She is the CEO. She has amazing scientific information that supports all of the products. And it's just definitely it's just amazing, and it will help. So real quick, I just want to run through the comments because we have some that I haven't been able to go through. Jackie Nixon says, "Hey ladies, hello sis, how are you?" Anita says, "This is good information." right? She also commented wow at some point during the conversation. So Bree says, this is great conversation. I need to get back into this. And I know specifically she posted this when we were talking about the blood type, right? Eating for your blood type and things of that nature and health and wellness. Sharina says, hey. And she said it's definitely a lifestyle change when we were talking about that. Sonia, you know Sonia.
Oh,
Sonia is the nurse of the century. She's correlating, she's like facts, everything is all facts. Aunt Sharon says that's wonderful that you provide a service for free and also it's a very reasonable price. And she knows a lot about blood because she works at a blood bank. So um cousin Roselle, he says, wow, you know, this is good information. April says April is Minority Health Awareness Month. So
wow.
this came right on time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And that's good you said that. I didn't even know because they do
Yeah.
different months. So we can put that as our focus.
Yeah, April is Minority Health Awareness Month. So thank you for that information, April. Sharina asks, can you give examples of raw cleanse
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So
and
when we
how she can get it?
absolutely. So basically, we offer a 7-day raw cleanse and a 21-day raw cleanse where we actually give you a grocery list. A lot of times when you think raw, you think, well, what am I eating? And so, of course, your green vegetables, your lettuce, your bell peppers. When you're on the cleanse, all food that's on the list you can eat. So you don't have to avoid things that are not good for your blood type because when you're cleansing, your body's in a different state. And so you're going to have things like pecans, you're going to have walnuts. There's ways you can take your walnuts and pecans and make it into taco meat. Yes, we have recipes for taco meat that are completely raw, but it tastes delicious. There's certain noodles, like there's a kelp noodle, where you can actually have a pasta that has really no carbs, okay, hardly any calories, but it tastes phenomenal. And so when you think about raw, you think, well, is it apples and oranges every day? No, it's a lifestyle, and we have a great expert team that's going to help coach you through it. So there's the food. So you can either just go raw on your own, or you can get help with us. We have something that also helps during the raw process of the mucus and parasites. One of the things we find people are dealing with is mucus. It's like mucus in the brain becomes Alzheimer's. Mucus on the lung becomes pneumonia. Mucus in the joints is how we end up with a lot of this arthritis, right? Because we're full of mucus and inflammation, okay? But we're also full of parasites. If you've ever had meat, and if you've ever seen meat rot, and you notice what comes out of that meat after a few days when it's rotting. So imagine meat that's putrefied in your body that's literally rotting. And imagine what it creates. It creates worms, it creates parasites. We have little creatures sometimes living in us, and that causes a lot of the deficiency, okay? And so one of the things we believe in is when you're gonna go raw, the body sometimes, wants to really rebound faster, but you're gonna need some support. And so get out the mucus, get out the parasites. And so that's our eliminator product, and it comes inside of our 7-day raw cleanse. That's the product you're gonna have in the morning. So you drink it with water. You put a teaspoon of that inside of water. You stir it up, you drink it. And then we also have superfoods because your body is going to need to replenish. So even though you're eating fruits and vegetables, we know that a lot of the food is very deficient of the normal vitamins and minerals. And so you need to supplement. And so we have a superfood formula that has things in there like moringa, ashwagandha, wheatgrass, chlorella, beetroot. I mean, it's loaded up, noni fruit, rose hips. It's got a lot of great stuff. It has your probiotic, your prebiotic, your fiber. Most of us need a lot more fiber in order for us to do this elimination process. It also includes your colonic, your liquid tea. Your first day, you do it twice. After that, it's once at night. And then we also include some vegetable protein. So it's a meal replacement too. So if you're on the go and you're like, I don't have time for a lot of this, imagine just making 2 smoothies a day, and then doing a raw meal. And the raw meal could be a salad. It could be our walnut tacos. It could be so many different recipes that we come up with, like our mushroom dishes too. Those are phenomenal ways to enjoy a phenomenal dinner with our mushroom dishes. So that's what we call the raw lifestyle. You do that for either 7 days or 21 days. And we recommend a raw regimen once a quarter. Okay, once a quarter. And then as far as eating raw food, that should be a habit every day. Even if it's just grabbing an apple, having some pecans, making sure you have, some, whether it's some broccoli or some celery. We just have to get in the habit of eating to live and not just living to eat.
Yeah,
And
living to eat. Yeah, no,
our
for
kids
sure.
too, right?
Yeah.
So that's an example of the raw. And again, when you go to log.akanna.com, and I am just so I'm so happy, right? That here we are, TJ, our senior vice president, just so impactful in so many ways. I mean, his infectious spirit just resonates all throughout our facility because TJ actually worked here in this office, right? In fact, his office, we still call it TJ's office, right? We have a big wall downstairs and it says, "All we do is win," and it says Thomas Sewell. So the fact that his legacy lives on in so many ways, right? In so many things that he's touched, but also through this concept of going online. If you're going to purchase the cleanse, do it through his site, and to keep supporting something that I know he so would be so passionate about. And I know helping our young men, I know
Yes.
he's so passionate about that. And
Yes.
so I love that. So
Yes.
hopefully that helps.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go. But she did say many cities will be hosting health fairs and education sessions for specific to minorities. So, yeah, let's definitely make sure we can get a handle on that for next year. And
Awesome.
thank you, Star. Thank you. Someone said, may God bless you continually and grant you even more access to people who need to hear and know to live healthy lives.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to take us out with prayer, sis. I love you. I appreciate you. Listen, you are a star. Okay. You are a celebrity. You
You're
are the real celebrity. People just don't know, you know, um, who you are, but I do. I know who you are, and I appreciate everything that God has made you to be. I ask God to continue to just enlarge your territory because you are doing good. He who has began the good work is going to perform it into the end. So I just encourage you to keep going. Don't stop, get it, because all we do is win, right? Continue to keep God first in everything that you do. And I just really just appreciate you, not just because of my son and how you took care of him, but I appreciate you just for being who you are and who God made you to be. Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate you.
I'm gonna take us out in prayer real quick and then we'll be done. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Rose Show. Oh my God. Words can't express how much I appreciate you guys supporting me always. It doesn't matter what I do. I love you guys to pieces. If you have not joined the grief group, please do that. If you know someone that is dealing with grief, I have a show coming up about grief with some of the people that are actually in the group. It's called Grieving Through Grace. I will post it on my Facebook page for you guys to join. Definitely go out and visit AKANNA, AKANNA. Even if you don't purchase anything, go and educate yourself, ask questions, things of that nature. If you have questions for Melissa, you can reach out to me, and I do have access to her.
And for them too, if they want to learn about the process of cleansing, we do have a site called flatbellyebook.com where they can get a free ebook, flatbellyebook.com.
Okay.
And you can get a free ebook that gives you a little bit more for those who just want to take something home to marinate on.
Okay, so that's Flat Betty, flatbellyebook.com.
Yes.
Okay, I just added it to the banner too. So I'm gonna take this other one off. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. And Father, I thank you for your mercy, for your kindness and your grace once again. Thank you for the show on today. Thank you for everything that was said, that was taught, oh God. Let someone's life be changed because of this show on today, Lord God. Let people make healthier decisions with their foods and with their thoughts and with their mind, body, and soul, Lord God. I thank you, oh God, for each and every person that joined, oh God. I thank you for those who wanted to join that were unable. God, I thank you for the people who are watching the replay right now, oh God. I ask you to bless them. I ask you to give them the desires of their heart. I ask you to keep them safe from all hurt, harm, and danger, oh God. Those who are dealing with grief right now, oh God, I ask you to send peace. I ask you to send comfort. Those who are dealing with health ailments, oh God, I ask you to send healing, peace, and comfort, oh God. I ask you, God, to send the resources, oh God, to help them to heal their bodies, to help them to heal their minds, and to help them to heal their souls. And we ask you all of these things in the mighty and matchless name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. I love you. Hugs.
Love
I'm
you
flying
too.
out. I'm about to go and book my flight so I
Okay,
can
girl,
get
come on.
to
Let's do it. Love you.
Chicago. Yeah, I definitely will be there. I was just talking to our girl tonight about it. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I love you, baby.
Love you too.
I
And I'll
love you.
see
Thank
you
you so
there.
much. Have a good one.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.